Hello, I'm Ted Gioia, and I'm giving a series of unscripted video talks on subjects about music and its relationship to the broader culture. Today I'd like to ask the question, is there a biological link between music and violence? As a music historian, I have focused my efforts on the positive sides of music. What excites me most is music as a change agent, as a catalyst, as a source of enchantment, as a source of personal transformation. But I also see the dark side of music, and I often want to understand what's going on here. Just think, for example, of all the violent acts and terrorist incidents that have taken place at musical events. In 2017, there was that Las Vegas shooting. 58 people were killed, more than 850 people were injured. It took place at a musical event. Think of the Bataclan incident in Paris, or the Pulse nightclub incident in Orlando, or the explosions at the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. Again and again, we see violent acts taking place at musical events. Is this just coincidence? We'd like to think so, but there are many other events where people gather together and you don't see the same correlation. So I'm forced to ask, is there some connection between music and violence? Now, if you go back into the theory behind music and its origins, you might think the exact opposite. Darwin believed that music came out of very positive reasons. It was part of sexual selection. It was part of courtship. It was part of mating. It was part of love. And what Darwin did is he went back to bird songs. Darwin thought that bird songs were emblematic of all music. And he saw the mating songs of birds that bring them together, the lovey-dovey birds. He saw this as the origins of music. So Darwin would say, no, there's no connection between violence and music. But actually, even his own theory proves it when you dig more deeply. What we've learned in more recent years is that birdsong is not just about mating and love. It's also about aggression and controlling territory. We've learned if you take birds and you deprive them of their ability to sing, they are no longer able to defend their territories. We've also learned that birds often cooperate with each other in singing to defend a larger territory. So in this way, music is like a neighborhood watch. The neighbors get together to preserve and defend their territory. So it's interesting, even at the very beginnings of music from an evolutionary standpoint, you see two aspects of it. The positive side, the music of love, romance, bringing people together, and also the music of aggression, of attacks, of defense against other predators. Recently, our understanding of this has been enriched more by our grasp of the key underlying aspects of body physiology and chemistry related to music. The most exciting finding is that we now understand that when people get together to perform music or listen to music, a specific hormone is released in the body, oxytocin. And it's fascinating to see that this hormone also has two contradictory and paradoxical uses. On the one hand, we've learned that because of the release of oxytocin, when you experience music in a group, you trust the people around you more. You bond with the people around you. This is why countries have national anthems. People get together to sing, and they become part of a team once they sing. This also explains why music takes place in so many instances of courtship and romance. Many of us would not be here today if our parents had not bonded over a song or a concert or a visit to a nightclub or going out dancing. And so you see here, oxytocin brings people together and they trust each other more because of songs. But this same hormone has the opposite effect as well. The release of this hormone by musical performance bonds people together also to attack other groups. People get together and they form not teams, sometimes they form armies. And so you have this whole other history of music rooted in human biology in which songs are linked to attacking. Even if you go to a football match today, you hear people sing these songs, and we even call them fight songs. The team has a fight song. Armies have their fight songs. In fact, even today, the U.S. government spends more money on military music than it does on the entire budget for the National Endowment for the Arts. Just think about that. We spend more money on music for soldiers than we do on music for culture. Now, this at first glance seems strange, but if you understand the long history in which music is used to bring people together to defend, attack, and to serve as a way of putting off predators, you see this makes perfect sense. So we live with this complex situation in which music can bring people together for good or for bad. And that's why we have these strange phenomena where you have in rock music that great Summer of Love, 1967, where everyone said rock is the music of love. But not long after, you have the Altamont concert where a murder actually takes place during a performance by the Rolling Stones. And you see this other strange phenomenon in which the most murderous groups have music as part of their agenda. Around the same time as the Summer of Love, you had the most publicized crime of the decade when Charles Manson and his gang killed a bunch of people. And they had their own theme song. It was a Beatles song called Helter Skelter. And Charles Manson was deeply involved in the music business. He almost had a record contract. Coincidence? No, it makes perfect sense when you see music being used in an act of violence. Around that same time, you had a group setting off bombs. It was called the Weather Underground. This group even took its name from a Bob Dylan song. So we see again and again this connection between music and people using it for purposes that end up with folks being killed. So we need to be aware of it. And when we see things like what happened in Las Vegas or Orlando and these other incidents, we need to remember that music is two-pronged. There's that positive side. There's that side that brings people together, that song that makes people fall in love even. And we should nurture that. But we should also recognize that music has a different kind of power, a dark power. And the more we understand this, the more we can control it, and the more we can channel the power of song for good and not for bad.